Today I'm going to discuss the secret to deeper intimacy for couples. Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Show. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples counseling. So deeper intimacy, this is something all couples talk about, they want it, but how do you get there? How do you develop deeper intimacy in your relationship? Well, today I'm going to share some steps with you to get you started. The first one is the relationship has to be in a good place for you to have deeper intimacy. And what does that mean to get your relationship in a good place? I'm going to go through some ideas. The first step is you have to resolve your resentments. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It starts with addressing your resentments. Think about going to the airport. When you go through security, they scan you for metal. You need to scan your heart for resentments. Resentments might be something your partner did that hurt your feelings or frustrated you. Maybe it's a pattern of behavior. Maybe it's an isolated incident that happened in the past and you never have talked through it with your partner. Resentments come in all shapes and sizes, and they're almost always there with long-term relationships. So you have to first and foremost address your resentments. I created a tool for this called the Reunite tool, and I'll leave a link for it in the description. Addressing resentments is paramount because it's hard to have sex with someone you resent. You're not going to want to develop deeper intimacy when you have resentments, because resentments create walls. So that's the first part you need to get into, is resolving your resentments. The next part is you have to foster your friendship. Once the resentments have been resolved, you've addressed them, now you're ready to start cultivating a better friendship with your partner. This can happen through regular dates, so you're having fun together. This can happen through fostering emotional intimacy, sharing your highs and your lows every day. This can happen through having more affection in your relationship, non-sexual touch. That's how you build the friendship. You start having dates, you start having emotional intimacy, and you start having affection. If those things are not in place, it's going to be impossible to nurture deeper intimacy in the bedroom without those being in place first. Now that you've fostered your friendship, now you're ready for the next level, which is sensual activity. Sensual activity might be cuddling together. It might be a sensual massage. It might be a bath together. This is where you start integrating romance. So many couples neglect and ignore romance. And you're not going to have deeper intimacy in your relationship without regular romance. But it's hard to have romance if you have resentments. It's hard to have romance unless you're feeling like you're good friends with your partner. So that's why this comes after resolving resentments, after fostering your friendship. Now you're ready for romance, sensual activity. Sensual activity is often missing in relationships. You probably had a lot of it in the beginning. So many couples I see, they tell me, in the beginning, we gave each other a lot of massages. Or in the beginning, we cuddled all the time. Or in the beginning, we had a lot of baths together or showers together, but we don't do any of that anymore. And you're not going to have deeper intimacy in the bedroom unless you're having regular sensual time. Sensual time allows you to sink into this romantic space with your partner. It allows low libido partners to come online with their arousal, because foreplay is required for low libido partners before they start feeling aroused. So if you're not having romantic time, if you're not having sensual activity, there's no way you're going to develop deeper intimacy in the bedroom. It's a prerequisite. So that's the first thing you have to do to have deeper intimacy, is the relationship has to be in a good place. The second thing you have to do to have deeper intimacy in your relationship is both partners need to have a positive relationship with sex. And all of us enter into marriage or long-term committed relationships differently when it comes to our association with intimacy. Some of us enter into relationships with a positive association with sex and intimacy because we've had positive experiences growing up. We've heard positive messages. We enjoy it. We feel healthy around it. We feel comfortable with it. We feel at ease. We really believe in it with how powerful and important it is for a healthy relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of people enter into marriage and committed relationships with a negative association with sex and intimacy. And those people probably had negative experiences, negative encounters with sex growing up. They probably got negative messages growing up. Maybe they had some sexual trauma, some sexual abuse, and they haven't bought into this idea that sex is healthy, sex is good, sex is important. They haven't bought into that mindset yet because they've had so many negative experiences in the past. So those people are entering into marriage and committed relationships with a negative association with sex and intimacy. And in those kind of situations, no matter how good your relationship is, you're still going to have a problem in the bedroom because it requires both partners having a healthy and positive association with sexual intimacy. And this happened in my own marriage. I've shared my story before, which is my wife and I, when we entered into marriage, my wife had a lot of negative associations with sexual intimacy because of her past. She had repeated negative experience with sexual contact growing up. She had received a lot of negative messages around sexual intimacy. So she entered marriage thinking sex is dirty, sex and love do not go together. I have to give sex to get love, and anyone who wants sex is a dirty pig. And me as a high libido partner quickly became an enemy in her mind because as I desired intimacy, it represented to her everything she hated about her upbringing. So despite us having a good relationship, despite us resolving our resentments, despite us having a good friendship, despite us having romantic time and sensual activity, we still had problems in the bedroom because I was bringing a positive association with sex and she was bringing a negative association with sex. So if that's you, that is the growth area. You're going to have to work on your relationship with sexuality, with sexual intimacy, so that it can become more of a positive association. You may need to work through all of your negative thoughts, your negative automatic thinking about sexual intimacy. And this is what my wife had to go through. She had to work on her core beliefs that sex is bad and eventually change that to sex is good. She had to change her belief that she had to give sex to get love to sex is a natural expression of love in a committed relationship. And so she had a lot of work to do. And then I had a lot of work to do to become patient, to not respond with anger, and to be empathetic with her journey because she brought that negative association with sexuality into our relationship. So maybe that's you. Maybe you need to work on your relationship with sex. Do you have a positive association or is it a negative association? If you have a negative one, just think about what are your automatic thoughts? What do you tell yourself when you think of sexual intimacy in a relationship? Are you telling yourself good things or is it bad things? And if it's bad things, it's valid because of your experiences growing up. But that's going to harm you and prevent you from having a healthy, functioning sex life with your partner. It's only going to become healthy and healing if you can work through those negative associations and that trauma you may or may not have from your past. Because a healthy sexual mindset is someone who thinks sex is healthy. They view it as healthy for the relationship. They view it as pleasurable, and they view it as bonding and intimate. That's someone who has a healthy association with sexual intimacy. And if you don't have that, that might be your growth area. So those are the keys to developing deeper intimacy in your relationship. The first one is your relationship has to be in a good place. And again, that's achieved by resolving resentments, building your friendship, and then having regular sensual activity. Second, both partners need to have a healthy and positive association with sexual intimacy. Thank you for listening to the Dr. Wyatt Show. For my free PDF to reflect and apply this episode further, go to my website, drwyattfisher.com/pages/freebies. And remember, your marriage is alive. If you nurture it and care for it, it will grow. If you deprive it and neglect it, it will wilt and die. The choice is up to you.